Hi, I'm Izzy, and I researched melatonin as a possible cancer treatment and why it is not being researched commercially. For some background information on the subject, melatonin is a hormone that is produced in the pineal gland in the brain, and it is most commonly known for regulating sleep-wake cycles. In the last few decades, there has been an abundance of research done on other functions of melatonin, as well as alternative uses, including using it as a treatment for cancer. According to the CDC, cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States, and in the next year, they project 630,000 people will die of cancer and that there will be 1.9 million new cases diagnosed. So, is melatonin really a possible treatment to cancer? Well, the research seems to support that it is. In just the last decade, there have been over 5,000 studies done on melatonin as a cancer treatment, with the overwhelming majority of them having positive results. Some have seen more than double the survival rate and cut tumor recurrence in half. Also, these studies have widely varied in terms of their conditions. There has been a mix of animal and in vitro studies, as well as having been tested on various types of cancer, including, but not limited to, prostate, ovarian, liver, kidney, lung, pancreas, colorectal, skin, and gastrointestinal. The conclusions are just as abundant as the different types of studies. It has been concluded that melatonin can suppress tumor growth at all three stages: initiation, progression, and metastasis. Each is worse than the one before it. These three stages typically need more invasive treatments the more progressed they get. And being able to treat metastasized cancer is such an important finding because when a cancer spreads, it greatly increases the chances of death. Another important finding is that when taken with traditional cancer treatments, it makes the treatment more effective, as well as lessening the side effects, which improves the patient's quality of life. And perhaps the most important finding to come out of all this research is the ability of melatonin to make cancers that were once resistant to treatment sensitive to the same treatments that had once not worked. So, with all of this evidence supporting melatonin as not only a plausible but also effective treatment for cancer, why then is it not at the very least being researched clinically? Well, the answer is simple. It would make little to no profit. Because melatonin is produced naturally, it can't be patented, and it is already readily available at a pharmaceutical grade for cheap, which means that there is little to be gained monetarily. On average, it takes $400 million to produce a new drug. And even though melatonin would be a relatively cheap drug to research, it would still take tens of millions of dollars, if not more, to be approved as a cancer treatment. The pharmaceutical industry believes it has no reason to put money into it because they already have ways to cut around those costs dramatically. Me Too drugs. These are drugs that are chemically similar and function similarly to drugs that already exist. Through this practice, pharmaceutical companies are able to make money on essentially the same drugs every year. Last year, 59 new drugs were approved for use by the FDA, and out of those, only 32% were first in class, which means the other 68% were Me Too drugs. The cancer industry averages about $97 billion in sales annually, with the total climbing every year. By choosing to concentrate on Me Too drugs, these companies are able to look like they are making an effort while all they are doing is lining their pockets. What do the researchers have to say about this? The lead researcher on a study done out of the University of Denmark in Copenhagen, which saw the survival rate over a year increase from 28 to 52% with the application of melatonin, said in an interview that the results were almost too good to be true, but that larger studies were needed. When asked why they were not being done, he replied that the pharmaceutical industry has shown no interest, and that it is near impossible to go further without their funding. A study done by two professors at the School of Medicine at UC Irvine concluded that there is a critical need for it to be explored at a clinical level, but they also stated there was a lack of commercial interest, which is likely due to the fact that clinical trials are expensive, that melatonin would not make much money as a cancer treatment. Finally, there was a joint effort between several international universities to do an analytical study on over 300 studies on the effects of melatonin as a cancer treatment. After analyzing all of these studies and the results, the researchers concluded that the evidence was sufficient to warrant immediate use or minimally immediate testing. They continued to write that despite the findings, the application of this information has been questionably and possibly unethically slow. In conclusion, there is more than sufficient evidence that has been readily available for years to justify melatonin as a cancer treatment, but there is still no commercial interest in developing it, even though it can save millions of lives. So, the question is, when will we stop letting the pharmaceutical industry put their own financial gain above that of the public health? Thank you for listening.